Hey folks, how's it going? Welcome to the brewery. And today, finally get around to brewing something. It's been a little while. Had the wife's 50th birthday celebrations last weekend. That took up a lot of time. Wiped out the last lot of brewing chances I had. So here we go. And today I'm doing something very different for the channel, and this is flowing on a bit from the twang files and extravaganza, and it's also come about from some conversations with a few people, particularly from some conversations on the live chats through Facebook. So what I'm looking at doing is a extract and grain brew. Dry extract and grain. Now, this was an idea I've been throwing around in my head for probably the last sort of 3 or 4 months. Like once I sort of got into the twang files a little bit, I started looking at, okay, as part of that process, how do we, as brewers, as you know, that have got minimal equipment, minimal range of experience, and don't have the space or the time and stuff to get into all grain or higher methods, how can they get into making, you know, a better quality brew simply? And a couple of things come to mind with that, and this was one of them. And this was a thought I've been banging around. I have thought of this probably a few times over the last few years and never sort of really went anywhere with it. And funnily enough, what really triggered me to get into doing this was, I had one of those conversations during the live, and someone was talking about different methods in the twang files and what was working and what wasn't and stuff. And discussion around alternatives to, you know, kit and kilo. And someone had mentioned the 15 MBK brews available through Kegland. Now, I had sort of seen a little bit about it, hadn't really looked at it. So I jumped in and had a look, and essentially, almost to the letter, it's exactly the same thing I was looking at doing. So I looked into that, and so the initial thought was, okay, well, I'll grab one of their kits and I'll do it. It's the same process, and obviously because it's a kit that's there at Kegland, it's readily available to, you know, brewers at home. So I was going to make it easy. You could just go on to Kegland and order your stuff, and basically was just going to run through the process, and almost, yeah, to a degree, do a review of that sort of kit. But as with so much stuff on Kegland's websites, particularly, you know, newer stuff or innovative stuff, it's all sold out. You can barely get a kit. There's like, I don't know, there's 12, 14 different beers on there, and you can only get about 3 of them. The rest are all sold out. So I thought, right, I'm going to do it myself then. I've had a bit of a look, gone through their process. I've watched the Kegland video, watched Key, you know, going through doing the process, and it's a very simple process. It is a much shortened process. It's a bit more involved than obviously just a straight kit and kilo, but it's not a lot more involved than doing a kit and some steeping grains. Yeah, so I thought, okay, let's go with it. So let's have a go at what we look. Let's see what we're looking at. The 15 MBK kit, the 15 means 15-minute boil kit, and I think a lot of people got wrapped up in that, going, oh, it only takes 15 minutes, which it doesn't. The 15-minute boil is only a very small part of the actual process, as you will see. So I said, we are following, well, much as I'm following their instructions, it was the process I was looking at anyway. I think the advantage now that I've got from my side is that with Kegland, they've obviously put some trial and some testing into it, so they've worked out what works. So that's made it a little bit easier for me, because I'm not going in quite as blind as I was as to quantities, but still not fully in there. But anyway, why this is such a great entry level for anybody is simplicity. Okay, all you need here, 19 litre Big W pot. I think Key uses a $15 kit by Kia pot on the video, but something that size, 15. You want at least 15 litres, 19 litres ideal. As I've always said, this is something that every home brewer should have. If you haven't got one of these in your home brewer, I really don't consider you to be a proper home brewer. No, but honestly, this is all you need. As far as equipment goes, 19 litre pot. You're going to need your stirring spoon, which I haven't grabbed out just at the moment. Look, and what we're going to use as our ingredients: light dry malt, 2 kilos for this recipe. Now this was pretty standard across pretty much every of the Kegland kit I looked at. 2 kilos of light dry malt as your base. I've got dextrose in this brew, 700 grams of dextrose. Okay, in the Kegland brews, they tend to use brew enhancer on top of the malt, so that's dextrose and some maltodextrin. The quantities vary a little bit depending on the kit, but from what I could tell, that was a fairly standard base. 3 kilos was their sort of standard base. I'm leaving the maltodextrin out because I don't think there's any need for it. Certainly not in the brew I'm doing today. There might be somewhere it might be worthwhile, but for me, I don't think there's any great need. So we've got that. Then we have our malt. Now I've milled my malt, milled the grain. I've got it here. I've got 600 grams all up. I've got 450 grams of Munich and 150 grams of Pilsner malt. Both of these are a Voyager malt, because that's what I've got here at the moment. So I'll ground them up ready to go. If you're doing this at home, you can get your malt ready milled from your brew shop if you need to. And again, the kind of grain you're using will vary from recipe to recipe on exactly what you're doing. But yeah, stick around, because I'm probably going to do a few more of these videos if this one turns out alright. Because I think this has got the potential to be a really good method that sits you somewhere between the effort of kit and the effort of all grain, like I said, without the equipment. And also I think this is going to make a decent sort of a beer. So that's our base ingredients. Now what we're looking to do, and I'm going to talk through this a little bit, then I'm going to switch over to some video where I'll do some maybe a little commentary over of putting it together. Reason being, I've got the induction hot plate here because I'm doing this out in the garage. You're doing home in the garage, in the kitchen. You can do this in the kitchen, no problem. With your most stovetops will handle your 19 litre pot without too much trouble. And you'll see why in a moment, particularly. But the induction cooktop has got a wicked big fan in it when it's running, and you won't hear me over it. So we'll talk through the idea, and then we'll show it happening without the fan noise going on. So in here I've got about 6 litres of water, maybe a fraction over 6 litres. The Kegland instructions are 5 litres, 5, 6, somewhere in that way. Doesn't overly matter. We're going to steep that grain. So that's our first point. So we're going to get that happening. Because I don't need the fan for that, so I can get this on. I said 6 litres of water here. I've got it up to about 66, 67 degrees. Doesn't temperature is not super important. As long as you're starting somewhere in the 60s, you're going to be alright. And so we're just going to let this grain steep for half an hour. We're not looking to mash it. It's just purely steeping. So the temperature is not that important. So we get that and we dump him in. Now, I don't know where my spoon's gone. Actually, yes I do, it's up there in that bloody other fermenter. But anyway, got me mash paddle, and I'm just going to give it just a quick stir. You can see the steam there. I'm pretty sure you can see enough of that to see what's going on. Anyway, so got my little thermometer in, so I'm going to take a quick reading on that temperature, see where we're sitting up. My Insta-Read's got a flat battery at the moment, so right, and that's coming up to, that's sitting somewhere around 62, 63 degrees. That's good. He's on. I'm going to steep that now for 30 minutes. So you can see now straight away while we the 15-minute boil bit is a little bit misleading. But anyway, let's go. Let's get our timer on for 30 minutes, and away she goes. You can steep this for longer if you want, and you can steep it a little bit less if you wanted to. Because we're not looking to get sugars out of this. Our sugars are coming out. Fermentables are coming from the malt and the decks. This is extra flavour. So you could steep that for 15 minutes if you wanted to. 30 minutes is a good time to make sure we are getting nice proteins and stuff out of, which will help with our, I said, flavour, will help with head retention, will help with mouthfeel in the finished beer. Okay, so we're going to let that go. 30 minutes, I'll pull that grain out and we'll continue on. So we'll have a look at that then. Righty-ho. We've been steeping now for about 40 minutes. Got just a little sidetracked on kegging the latest of the Twang Files brews, slash next of the extra brews. Now, so we pull out the grain. Right on, I'm going to get my malt in here before I turn this heat on. I would have got the heat on if I was just doing this without the video running, but as I said, this bloody fella is quite noisy, so we'll get the malt in first. Just mix him in. Stir him up a bit, mate. Try to get rid of any lumps, but they'll come out as it comes to a boil anyway. Right. That's it, nice and easy. And at this point, I've been going for an hour and a quarter since I actually started warming the water up. So, but it's we haven't done much. Anyway, I'm going to get this boiling. We'll come back once it's had a boil and we'll look at the next step, which is adding hops. Okay, just as this stuff's coming to the boil, as any time you're boiling any malt, beware of the hot break. So just keep an eye on it, you know, and that's why having a big pot helps. You've got that plenty of space. This hasn't actually frothed up too much. And I'm adding here our hops, which is 20 grams each of Nectaron and Riwaka, which is going to get me about something in the vicinity of about 17 IBU. And I think that'll work quite nicely. I think give us a nice little flavour profile to start the base of this beer with. Okay, so boil done. Pull the hops out, turned it off. I've added 5 litres of just tap water, just to get the temperature down. Because what we look at that is just to make sure we're below 80 degrees to stop any more hop isomerization. And that's good. We sit it and it's around the mid-60s at the moment, so that's all good. So we've got about 11ish litres here in the pot. I was originally looking at 20 litres. I've run the numbers through. Looks like we might get 22 litres. So I'm going to put 11 litres into a fermenter, and then we'll just tap water. Then we'll dump that in there, and we'll see what we're looking at temp wise. But this is probably going to be a little bit warm just at the moment we put yeast on, but we'll see shortly. Okay, I've got about 8 litres of water in the fermenter. It's literally all been sanitised, everything's sanitised. Put a little bit extra here. Just allow for the increase in volume from the malt. I don't want to. If I put 11 litres near, it's too much. I can't do anything about it. So start a little bit lower than what you want to, and you can build up to it. Now let's see how much of a mess I can make here. Yeah, just checking about before I say that could be the best cleanest transfer I've ever done. Yeah, pretty good. Got about 19.5 there, so let's go 21. Gotta go 21 litres. So, all good. Give me a second to aerate this and get a sample off it. We'll talk about final numbers and yeast. One pack of verdant, and that's possibly a little bit bloody warm yet. Let's not put that in there just yet. Yeah. Let's get it in the bloody let's get it in the fridge first and actually see what temperature we got, because that's too warm. Righto, fermenter's tucked away in the fridge at, I've got it set for 18 degrees, it's currently about 39 degrees. So I said, yeah, I'm going to pitch one pack of verdant IPA. Looking for that nice, fruity, New Zealand pale ale kind of a finish. I probably would have preferred a bit more of a cleaner yeast, but I haven't really actually got anything here. Yeah, don't happen with the yeast stocks, but anyway, that's her. Then we're dusting her sharp, but she's nice light colour, looking good. Let's get a reading on this. A bit of froth on it, it's just there at the moment. Alright, I'm going to have to let that sit a little bit, just let it settle. It's looking to be somewhere around 1040, probably 1046, 1048. I think I was looking around that mark, around the high 1040s, maybe 1050 to get into about a 5.5% finish. We will wait and see. I'll stick the gravity up here on the video. What we end up at. I'll let this cool and do it properly. Anyway, guys, that's it. It's now just before 6. Started at 10 past 3. So about 2 3/4 hours start to finish. But I did I've done stuff, or I've like in between. I've kept 2 beers. I've put washing in. I've put washing out. I've played around on Facebook. I've updated pictures. So yeah, simple. And cleanup is 1 pot, and 2 bags. That's it. It's easy as, and going off that sample, we're looking good. So I will dry hop this fella. Probably just a bit of Nectaron. Maybe 30 grams towards the end of ferment, just for like 2 or 3 days before it's finished, just to bring a little bit extra fruit in. But I'm going to keep it fairly simple for this this first hit out. So anyway, so that's her. I really don't know what to call the method. As I said, like Keckland's called the 15 MBK. As you can see, it's a long way longer than the 15 minutes that they want to throw into that, but yeah, it's not a lie as such. Yeah, I do only boil for 15 minutes, but this thing, not particularly great at bringing to. It did take a little while, but again, as I said, for just sitting around and just flipping around and doing other things, and no drama at all. And like I said, from now, it's going to take me 10 minutes to clean up. So 3 hours, start to finish. Most I've got to do is come back a little bit later and pitch the yeast. And I could have avoided that had I either stuck my coil chiller into the pot and cooled it that way, or I could have stuck that pot into a water bath and cooled it down, to 30 or 40 degrees before adding all our water, in which case I certainly would have been low enough, would have been probably in the mid-20s, I could have pitched the yeast straight away. So I think 3 hours is certainly well and truly easily doable as a start to finish. So that's it, and that's everything. That was from coming out here and getting the equipment out. It's going to be right through to including pack up. So that's pretty good. Simple, not a huge amount of cost, not a lot of mess. This comes out alright. That's a big win. But anyway, that's it for now. If you got any comments or any questions, stick them down the bottom. Patreon to the channel, thank you very much for your support. Again, this lets me do this sort of stuff. There's a link down the bottom if you're interested in Patreon. If you subscribe to the channel, thank you. If you aren't, there's a subscribe button down there below. Hit that, ring the bell, get notified when there's a new video. Don't miss anything. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. But for now, I'm done. So I'll tell us in the next video when we, drinking beer, brewing beer, drinking beer, talking beer. Who knows, we might be doing a taster on this number. Cheers and good brewing.